Welcome to Growth Through Thought. Today we embark on a profound journey into the most terrifying place known to man. It is not a physical location on a map, but a psychological reality that exists deep within every single one of us. We call this place the abyss, a vast cavern of silence, chaos, and the unknown that we often try to ignore. The abyss represents the parts of our lives where structure fails, where certainty dissolves, and where we must face ourselves alone. For many, it feels like a nightmare, a void that threatens to swallow our identity and everything we hold dear. But what if this terrifying emptiness is actually the most important destination you will ever visit in your entire life? To understand the light, we must first understand the darkness, and to find ourselves, we must be willing to get lost. Most people spend their entire lives building walls to keep the abyss out, seeking comfort in the safety of the known. However, ignoring the void does not make it disappear. It only allows it to grow silently in the shadows of our minds. This brings us to the concept of the shadow, a term coined by the famous Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. Jung believed that the abyss contains the shadow, the repository of all the personality traits we repress and deny. It holds our anger, our jealousy, our secret desires, and everything society told us was unacceptable to show to the world. We fear looking into this box because we are afraid of what we might find lurking beneath our polished exterior. We wear masks to please others, but the abyss demands that we take them off and face the raw truth within. Like an iceberg, our conscious mind is just the tip, while the abyss forms the massive, submerged reality of our existence. Diving into these depths feels dangerous, yet it is the only path to achieving true psychological wholeness and maturity. Jung argued that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. By avoiding the abyss, we become puppets of our own suppressed emotions, reacting blindly instead of acting with true intention. The value of facing the abyss lies in reclaiming the energy we spend on hiding from our own true nature. When we stop holding back the flood, we gain access to a reservoir of power that can fuel our transformation. This brings us to the duality of the abyss. It is a force of destruction, but also a force of creation. It destroys the false self, the ego, and the illusions of safety, which can feel incredibly painful and disorienting. We must be willing to let the old structures of our lives collapse so that something better can be built. This is the archetype of the phoenix, the ultimate symbol of rebirth that can only happen after a complete disintegration. The abyss is also the source of all creativity, for every great idea comes from the void of the unknown. Just as the universe was born from nothingness, our greatest potential lies waiting in the dark spaces we fear to enter. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard described this feeling as the dizziness of freedom, the anxiety of standing before infinite possibilities. He argued that anxiety is not a fault, but a sign that we are free beings capable of making choices. When we look into the abyss, we realize that we could do anything, be anyone, and that responsibility is terrifying. But to retreat from this dizziness is to retreat from life itself, locking ourselves in a cage of our own making. We often choose the cage because it is safe, predictable, and we know exactly where the boundaries are located. The abyss challenges us to fly, to embrace the uncertainty of the wind, and trust in our own ability to soar. Navigating the abyss requires courage, not the absence of fear, but the decision that growth is more important than safety. It is in the struggle with the unknown that we develop resilience, character, and a deeper understanding of who we are. Life is a balancing act over the abyss, and we must learn to find stability even when the ground is gone. Nietzsche warned that if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you. This creates a risk of nihilism, the belief that because nothing is certain, then nothing matters and life is meaningless. Falling into this trap leaves us paralyzed, unable to move or create, simply drifting in the void without purpose. However, the antidote to nihilism is not to look away, but to create your own light within the darkness. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, found meaning in the most hopeless abyss imaginable to a human being. He taught that we cannot control what happens to us, but we can always control how we respond to it. Even in the abyss of suffering, we have the freedom to choose our attitude and to find meaning in our pain. Frankl's philosophy reminds us that the abyss does not have to be the end. It can be a new beginning. When we find a why to live for, we can endure almost any how, no matter how difficult the path. We must take the shattered pieces of our lives found in the abyss and rearrange them into a meaningful mosaic. So, how do we practically navigate this chaos without being consumed? One powerful tool is the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness allows us to observe the abyss without falling into it, creating a space between us and our fears. We learn to watch our dark thoughts drift by like clouds, acknowledging their presence without letting them define our reality. Another method is creative expression. Writing, painting, or music can give form to the formless terror of the void. By turning our internal chaos into external art, we gain mastery over it and transform suffering into something beautiful. The abyss has inspired the greatest symphonies, novels, and paintings in human history, proving its potential for immense creative power. We can also navigate the abyss by connecting with others, realizing that we are not alone in our internal struggles. Vulnerability is the bridge that connects our abyss to someone else's, creating a bond that fear cannot easily break. The journey through the abyss is not a straight line. It is a spiral path that we walk throughout life. We may revisit the same fears, but each time we do, we are stronger, wiser, and better equipped to handle them. Integration is the goal, not to defeat the abyss, but to accept it as a necessary part of our psyche. Just as day needs night, our conscious mind needs the depth of the unconscious to feel truly alive and complete. When you emerge from the abyss, you bring back gifts of wisdom that can only be found in the dark. You become a guide for others, someone who knows the terrain of suffering and can lead others toward the light. The man on the cliff no longer fears the fall, for he knows that he has the wings to fly. Remember, the seed must be buried in the dark earth before it can ever hope to reach for the sun. The deeper the roots go into the dark abyss, the higher the branches can reach into the heaven of potential. The universe is mostly empty space, yet it is this emptiness that allows for the movement of stars and planets. Embrace the empty spaces in your life. Do not rush to fill them with noise, distraction, or meaningless activities. Sit with the silence, let the boredom come, and watch what arises from the depths of your own mind. You might be surprised to find that the abyss is not a monster, but a muse waiting to be heard. We must regain the curiosity of a child, who sees the unknown not as a threat, but as an adventure. The darkness of the night is what makes the lights of the city shine so bright, and look so beautiful. Be the lighthouse for your own life, standing firm on the rock of your values while illuminating the dark waters. Philosophy is not just for dusty books. It is a practical survival guide for the wilderness of the human soul. Thinking deeply is difficult, which is why most people judge. But true growth comes from the labor of deep thought. The abyss is a maze, but there is always a way out if you keep moving and keep trusting yourself. Be like water, soft, fluid, and yielding, yet capable of carving canyons through the hardest stone over time. Time will push us all into the ultimate abyss of death, but this reality should make life more precious. The scarcity of time gives value to our moments, urging us to live authentically and fully while we are here. What legacy will you leave behind? Will it be one of fear and avoidance, or one of courage and exploration? Do not worry if your steps are washed away. The importance lies in the act of walking your own path. Public speaking is often cited as a top fear because it is a social abyss, risking rejection and judgment. Yet, crossing that stage can transform a person from a silent observer into a leader who changes the world. Sometimes you have to jump before you feel ready, trusting that the parachute of your preparation will open. Preparation is key. We do not enter the abyss blindly, but armed with knowledge, skills, and self-awareness. Knowledge is the torch we carry into the dark caves of ignorance, illuminating the path for ourselves and others. Science itself is a journey into the abyss of the unknown, seeking answers to questions we barely know how to ask. Humanity's drive to explore space is a reflection of our internal drive to explore the depths of our consciousness. From the distance of the abyss, we see our problems in perspective, small and insignificant against the grand scheme. Compassion is often found in the darkest moments, binding us together when everything else seems to be falling apart. Just like the lotus flower, the most beautiful parts of our character are often rooted in the mud of suffering. Sadness and grief are parts of the abyss that we must allow ourselves to feel fully in order to heal. Suppressed grief is a poison, but expressed grief is a cleansing rain that prepares the soil for new life. Letting go is one of the hardest things to do, as it means stepping into a void where that person was. But you cannot discover new oceans unless you have the courage to lose sight of the shore for a while. Your internal compass will guide you if you listen to it, even when the stars are hidden by thick clouds. You do not need to see the whole path. You only need enough light to take the next step forward. Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase, trusting that the way will appear. Self-love is the armor that protects us when we travel through the valley of the shadow of self-doubt. We must comfort the frightened child within us, telling them that it is safe to come out and play. We build our lives piece by piece, and sometimes we must tear down a tower to build a better foundation. Breaking through barriers requires energy and force. Do not be afraid to be aggressive in the pursuit of your growth. The light on the other side is always worth the struggle it takes to break down the walls of our prison. Physical discipline is a way to train the mind. When the body endures, the spirit learns that it is capable. Channel your aggression into discipline, for a harmless man is not good, but a dangerous man under control is. Be a monster, and then learn to control it. This is the path to true virtue and strength of character. Saying no to temptation is a way of saying yes to your future self and your long-term goals. The easy path leads to a hard life, while the hard path often leads to an easy and fulfilling life. Choose the hard path, for it is there that you will find the treasures of resilience and self-respect. The air is thinner at the top, and fewer people are there, but the view is incomparable and worth the climb. Breathe in the freedom of the heights, knowing that you conquered the abyss below to reach this point of elevation. Looking back, you will see that the abyss was not an enemy, but the very terrain that made you a climber. This is not the end of your story, but merely the end of the chapter where you were afraid of the dark. Every day is a new opportunity to face a small abyss, to make a brave choice, and to grow a little more. Small acts of courage and kindness accumulate over time to build a character that is unshakable by life's storms. Trust the cycles of nature. Winter must come for spring to follow, and darkness must exist for light to shine. We are like rivers flowing toward the sea of the absolute, and the abyss is just the delta where we expand. Make a wish upon the star of your potential, and then work hard to make that wish a reality on Earth. Define your goals clearly, for a defined goal is a light that cuts through the fog of uncertainty and hesitation. Celebrate your victories, no matter how small, for they are the stepping stones that lead you out of the deep. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success, a lesson learned in the hard school of the abyss. Wear your scars with pride, for they are proof that you faced the beast and survived to tell the tale. Surround yourself with people who encourage your growth, and who are not afraid to explore the deep questions with you. If you are lonely in your abyss, reach out. There are millions of others searching for connection in the dark. We are all on this floating rock together, drifting through the infinite abyss of space, united by our shared humanity. Let compassion be your guide, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle you know nothing about. Listen to the wisdom of those who have walked the path before you. They have mapped parts of the abyss. But do not follow blindly. You must walk the path yourself, for your abyss is unique to your own soul. Authenticity requires blazing your own trail, leaving footprints where no one else has ever dared to step before. Keep your inner fire burning. Tend to it daily with inspiration, discipline, and the fuel of your passions. The winds of life will blow, but a strong fire is not extinguished by the wind. It is only fanned higher. Resilience is not about never falling. It is about how quickly you stand back up after the storm has passed. Be flexible like bamboo. Rigid trees break in the storm, but the flexible ones survive to grow another day. Flow around obstacles rather than crashing into them. Adaptability is the key to navigating the complex landscape of life. Do not be afraid to change your mind or your direction when new information arises from your experiences. The struggle of the butterfly to escape the cocoon is what strengthens its wings for the flight ahead. Do not ask for an easy life. Ask for the strength to endure a difficult one and the grace to fly. Gratitude changes our perspective, turning what we have into enough and turning our past struggles into lessons. Practice gratitude daily, even in the abyss, for there is always a star to be found in the darkest night. Spread kindness, for it is a light that reflects back to you, brightening your own world as well as others. You never know how your small act of courage might inspire someone else to face their own personal abyss. We are all connected in this web of life. When one of us heals, it contributes to the healing of all. As we near the end of this journey, take a moment to breathe and appreciate the sheer fact of existence. You are alive. You are conscious. And you have the power to shape your reality through your thoughts and actions. Your mind is a powerful tool. Use it to build bridges over the abyss, not to dig deeper holes. Construct meaning, build relationships, and create art. These are the bridges that allow us to cross over safely. The view from the bridge is magnificent, and you can only see it if you have the courage to build it. Let the light of truth shine into every corner of your life, leaving no place for the shadows to hide. Open your heart and your mind to the possibilities of today, leaving the regrets of yesterday in the past. Time waits for no one, so do not waste another moment standing on the edge, paralyzed by your fear. Take the step. Trust yourself. The abyss is not your enemy. It is the raw material of your becoming. We hope this exploration has given you the tools and the courage to face your own shadows with confidence. Remember that growth is a process, not a destination, and every challenge is an opportunity to expand your soul. Thank you for watching Growth Through Thought. Embrace your abyss, find your light, and subscribe for more journeys into wisdom.